Hello again. We are moving on with Chapter 10 in our Organizational Theory and Behavior Independent Study. Chapter 10 is about conflict and negotiation. And we've talked recently about communication, we've talked about teams, and these chapters tie in well together because you've got to be able to communicate when you're working in teams. We discovered in Chapter 9 that we're going to be working in teams. It's just hard to conceive of a work scenario where you don't have to interact in teams somehow. They say no man is an island, and that's true in the workplace. Even if you've got a job that kind of lends itself to being in your office, you still have to have support in some ways. So teams are very important. And you can't work in those teams unless you've got good communication. But with that communication and the breakdown in that communication from time to time, especially when we're working in teams with personalities that are different from ours, we will have conflict. We will not agree on what happens next. We will not agree on how to get there or who needs to be responsible or in charge or whatever. So conflict will occur. And as we recognize that conflict and realize that some conflict really is damaging, but some conflict is good, kind of like the idea of stress. With no stress, we really don't get anything done. When there's no conflict, we probably don't become as productive as we would like to be. Conflict kind of spurs us to do something. It kind of gets the juices flowing, so to speak. It gets the adrenaline going, and we get more done a lot of times when there is conflict. But we got to be able to manage it well. And the last part of the chapter deals with negotiation, how we deal with conflict so that we all end up feeling like something has been positive as a result of this. So as we look through this chapter on conflict, we will first look at some of the causes of conflict in an organization. We'll look at some of the outcomes of conflict, both interpersonally and emotionally and physically and whatnot. And then we'll talk about how we manage conflict in our organizations. Things that we can do to reduce or eliminate the conflict or to deal with it as whichever is appropriate. The next little part of the chapter deals with styles that we have when we're dealing with conflict. And that's, the basic formula here is that you look at things in terms of how badly do I want to get what I want, and B, how badly do I want to help you get what you want, and you're high to low on both sides of those issues, and the intersecting points of low on this and low on that, or high on this and low on that, it helps us to determine what our style is. We should remember that we probably have a preferred style, but we're going to use different styles depending on the circumstances. We'll use a different style with our boss than we will with our folks who are below us. We're going to use a different style with our spouse than we are with our children. And so we manage that and use the appropriate style at the appropriate time, and we're probably pretty successful. The last part of the chapter deals with negotiation and how we can work together to make sure that everybody gets the things that they want. In all, the lecture video that you're going to watch here in the second little piece of the communications part of this class is going to be 24.5 minutes long, so set aside about 30 minutes, as is normally the case, to review that. When you're done with the summary of the chapter in the video and the important ideas, there will be 3 assessments that you'll do, assessments 24, 25, and 26. They deal with our style of negotiating and how we deal with conflict and that sort of thing. And then we'll conclude the chapter with another one of our video calls, video call 4, and we may experiment a little bit with a new way of doing these video calls. Rather than Google Hangouts, use something directly through Georgia View. And I'll give you more instructions on that if we decide to use that for this particular call. At any rate, hope that you are, again, enjoying the class, getting something out of it from chapter to chapter, finding things that you can apply to your life, and I hope that you are enjoying and approving of the pace that you're making. A reminder that it's really kind of up to you. I'm trying to stay ahead, but things should be available as you come to them. You keep an eye on the calendar and make sure that you're going to get as much done as you'd like to in the time that you have.